Hey friends! Today it's all about the pufferfish. So last week when we met, we made our background and we cut out our bubble wrap circles. We pasted them down and they're bubble side up. So check it out. First thing we'll probably be doing this week, if we didn't already do this, is brushing very lightly some white paint on the bubble side. It's going to look like this. So if you put too much paint, you're not going to get the cool bubble effect that I'm getting. It's one light sweep of paint that's going to dry very fast. Okay, and I'm going to do it again over here. These are going to be my two pufferfish. All right. So while that's drying, we're going to work on a few other things. So there's paper at your table, there's scissors, glue, and you should also have a Sharpie marker and yarn. Okay, those are our supplies. So next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make the floor, my ocean floor, okay? So you all have a strip of brown paper, and what you're going to do is, it's already the correct length. What you want to do is just cut the top of it, or actually I would even recommend ripping the top so it's nice and soft. Just want you to see what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to rip it, so don't cut it, just give it a rip. All right, so the flat edge should match up perfectly with the bottom of your paper. So what I did was I just ripped across. You want to do this carefully because you don't want it to break while you do it, although if it does break while you do it, it's not really a big deal. Okay, when it comes to gluing, less is more. All right, watch. I'm just going to put the skinniest little kind of circles, squiggles. Please do not put a pool of glue anywhere. I'm going to press this down all the way to the bottom of my page. And it should match up perfect. Give it a little pat so it stays. I'm working at a weird angle, so that's why mine maybe doesn't look perfect, but that's okay. Oh, my thing just fell. Okay, we're all right. I give it like a little rub down, just making sure it's perfectly lined up the way I want it to be, and it is. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my yarn. So every table has some yarn in it. What we're going to do is we're going to be making little lines on our pufferfish. All right, it's going to be like the little puffy lines, right? So I'm going to do is make the lines first. I'm going to recommend putting about 15 or so lines. I'm not sure how many I'm making. I'm going to guess it's about 15 little lines of glue. This is a really quick thing. All right. So I'm just doing one fish at a time. Now you can change it up and do different color yarn, or you can do all the same color yarn. It's totally up to you. They do not have to be the same length, although if you'd like them to be, you can. All right. I'm going to make these all the same because that's just what I'm feeling right now. I think maybe on my other one, I'll change them up. All right. So it's just a real quick little pat. You might have to trim these down to make them work. Oh, there's the bell. There we go. So I'm just going around, and it's okay if you come off the page too. That's called breaking a border. I think it always looks good. It's always a cool move to do, breaking a border. All right, there's never a time that it doesn't look good. It always looks good, in my opinion anyway. So I broke a border. You can have these kind of come underneath your pufferfish. This one's not sticking well, so yeah, the ones that I'm doing at the top here are giving me trouble, so I'm gonna redo those lines. I like you to see the little troubles that I have so that you know when you get to this how to troubleshoot. Okay, because the same issues that happen to me will probably happen to you. It's just the way it usually will go. So I think I do need a little bit more glue up here. All right, so you guys get the gist. I'm sure you're working on this already. Working at the same step as me, so don't move on to do anything different. I'm doing this in an order. It's for a reason. Okay, the reason is we're letting certain parts dry before we move on to others. Okay, there's one pufferfish finished. Okay, now my other one I'm going to do now Same thing, I'm going to put the same amount of lines. I put about 15 last time. I didn't actually count. Roughly 15. More or less is fine. Roughly means about. Okay. I think on this one I'm going to just mix it up because it's fun to do. So maybe I'll do an every other pattern on this one. You don't have to do any kind of pattern. You could just use random colors. You can just make it your own any which way you'd like to. So have fun with that. You have some freedom here. I like giving you guys some freedom from time to time. All right. I'm really coming along now. If you get to the point where you're finishing up and you end up with two of the same color next to each other, you could just put an extra line of glue somewhere and then you'll have an odd amount again. But mine actually, or I should say even, mine actually worked out perfect, so yours might as well. But if not, that's a real easy fix. I think I'll use red for my other color. I'm just going to give these a little snip to prep them. Taking a second to prep is always a smart idea, in my opinion, because that second that you take to prep will save you time later on. So it's never a bad idea. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Actually, I have two lines of glue here. It's like I missed one. I'm just gonna like ignore that I did that. I'm just gonna like pretend that I didn't. Okay. And so that's done now. So now, I'm feeling around here. This is drying. This is a good time to go and put a Google eye on each of my fish. You put one or two on your fish. So I think what I'll do is probably pass out about 3 per person. Okay, so I'll show you. So you're doing 1 if your fish is facing the side. So maybe your fish is facing the side like this, right? Now, if your fish is facing forward, you could put 2. So I'm just putting 2 dollops of glue there. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. You don't want too much. Okay, so this one is facing the side. That one is facing forward. For the mouth, I'm going to use a dark colored piece of yarn. And what I'll do is make a circle. It's going to seem a little hard at first, but you guys will get it. You want to kind of pre-measure. Make sure that your yarn can kind of fit that circle. It's not an exact kind of thing, right? And then, now if this is too big, I can always cut it down, but it's going to be perfect because things just always seem to work out. So there's his mouth, all right? It's kind of a funny mouth. He looks a little surprised, right? And I'm going to put a mouth on this one too. Just like that, okay? Now for the fins, what I'm gonna do is make kind of a triangle shape. So this is all on our bubble wrap. This seems harder than it actually is. It seems harder because it's hard to see what I'm doing because the glue is the same color as the bubble wrap. It's kind of clear, just hard to see. I know that, all right? So we got our little fin. If you want, inside your fin, you can make a couple of lines. You can kind of dress it up. You guys know what I say. If you mess it up, dress it up. Not that I mean a mess up, but I just feel like dressing it up, so I can do that. So I put a little line there. So this is my fin. Okay. All right. And got another, I think I'll put 2 fins on this one. So I'll put one on this side, one on this side. Maybe I'll do it in a different color. I find that this one, it's a little bit difficult to actually see that that's the mouth and that's the fin. So maybe it's actually better. So sometimes I do little quick changes up as I'm going, but it might actually be better to use different colors for those so that it does not all turn into one thing like mine just did. Okay. So you're just making your fins. This is probably the hardest part. It's hard for me because I'm working vertically. Do your best. These ones are coming out kind of like little circles. That's okay. They actually look like cute cheeks. So maybe I'll actually just go with that. Okay. I know my hand's in the way. If you need more glue, you can always use more. I think what I'm actually going to do to remedy this is get rid of this. And I'm going to give him red lips. And I think that's going to remedy this, and you'll be able to tell that that's his mouth and that that's a fin. So you can go back and make changes. You're never really stuck with what you do. Try to work quick because we only have a certain amount of time together. So if class ends and you glue something down, you might actually be stuck with it. So, all right. So our fishies are made. They're awfully silly. I really like them. I think they're super cute. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start making my seaweed. So for the seaweed, I'm going to use different greens. All right. I probably left you guys some different greens around. All right. So I have, actually, I think I'll use some yellow too. So I have strips of all these colors. Just want to show you. All right. What I'm going to do, I can actually put them together. Check this out. I'm going to put them all together. We're in second grade. I think you guys can handle this. So they're all together. If I cut them all at once, it's going to save time. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut them a little bit squiggly. All right. So don't worry about anything being perfect. Just want you guys to see. Now, if you want to just do them one at a time, be my guest. This is for sure a time saver. So I give you tips. If you follow them, great. If you don't, you might learn that, you know, you could have done a time saver. It might take you longer, or it might just work out anyway, which is cool. So I don't have to keep them at this length. I can cut them down. I can have my pieces of seaweed be long and short. I can have a combination, okay? So I'm kind of planning it out. Do you guys remember when I talked about breaking the borders, right? So I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to have these pieces of seaweed come straight from the bottom. I'm going to plan it out first by putting my glue down where I want my seaweed. All right. And I'll probably have more pieces than this. I might have extra to give to a friend. That's cool. It's a nice thing to do. Have it come straight to the bottom. Okay. And let's see, they can go in front of your pufferfish. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So this is showing space. So you're showing, right now you're showing background, middle ground, and foreground. So right now we're working in our foreground of our picture. I want to use this one, but it's long. So again, you don't have to trim them. If you want to use it long, you can. It's always your choice. But I just feel like it works better for my picture if I trim them down. All right. You can have a couple long pieces. I think I will put a long piece right here because it just looks cool. All right. And we're getting to the end. There's one or two more steps that we're going to do after this to really, really pull these pictures together. And I guarantee it's going to make your picture a winner. Your picture's a winner either way, but your picture's really going to look awesome after this step, okay? All right, so that looks good. I'm going to show you another thing right now. So something I could do is actually tuck in pieces of seaweed. So check this out. So these seaweeds might be behind the ground part, right? So I just tuck that in. So I can make a choice. I'm going to set it up. All right, and I'm going to tuck in a few. That's just a real fun little trick. So you have some in the front and some are in the back. Be my guest, check it out, try it out. I always love showing you guys tricks. It's just fun for me. All right. So really have some fun with this. I'm going to tuck in another one right here. I don't have to glue it all the way down. It's fun if pieces are hanging off. It's totally fine if they're coming off the side. It's going to make your picture look really interesting. All right, I'm going to tuck in a few more and then I'm going to call it a day. You don't have to go with a pattern with this part. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. I did not. There's no pattern going on here. Now, the last thing I'm going to have you guys do today, you're going to all get a Sharpie marker. Now, this is important. Please don't ever take your Sharpie and draw through anything wet with it. So you never take it and put it in glue. You guys all have gluey areas. You need to be very mindful. Before you get started, you're going to be so mindful not to ever land the tip of your Sharpie in glue because we have to throw them out if that happens. Okay, so I'm going to ask you right now. So you see there's, just look before you do. There's little pieces of glue kind of popping out. Always look before you do. What I'm going to do here is design my little seaweed. So this is with the extra time I have now. So I'm just putting like little circles and things. You're gonna work neater than me. I'm kind of rushing because I don't like my videos to be too long. So you might put like little squiggle lines. Again, watching out for the glue. So I know that I have some glue there. I could be super careful and work right around it. All right, and you're gonna actually go over each of these. I could do a neater job if I were working flat on the table, but I'm not. You know, guys know I'm working vertically. So yours probably will come out neater than mine. You're gonna keep going, okay? So forth and on, you'll continue, and then we'll put these on the drying rack. Okay, guys, this is it. I'll see you guys next class. So long until then.